Hello guys, welcome you all to my YouTube channel. Today video I plan to show you one implementation which I have did a couple of weeks ago, that is Node Mock Backend. I have developed a Node Backend using Express framework and the Node.js runtime environment and Json DB. So why I have developed this Node Mock Backend is, you know that if you are a front-end developer, if you are working with a team, in a team there's two separate to split that team. One is for front-end development, one is for back-end development, correct? So backend development, basically they're using several technologies like Java. Most probably Java is the language most probably using for a backend development, right? So front-end development is like client-side development. So whatever the backend developers are developing the endpoints, they will providing to us. What we doing is we just integrating to the front end, right? So if we work like this, sometimes this we having a problem, that is the backend delay. So let's say for example backend is taking more time to develop that particular API, but until backend endpoint get ready, you need to work for that particular feature. So doing that, what you are doing is you are just mocking the response. So yes, you are mocking the response from the client side and you are retrieving and working to the stuff which you are doing a part of the front end. But here is the problem. Let's say for example the endpoint is developing that is required HTTP post method. So I hope you all aware about HTTP methods, right? HTTP method is one kind of middleware. If we talk with web servers, we need to know about this HTTP request method, like we have this post method, get method, and put method, and delete method, right? So there's several, so you can go through it later. But this is the one. This HTTP is just a middleware, right? Yeah, come back to the topic. Backend is developing that endpoint. That endpoint required post method. So if you are working on a client, you can mock and get a response using HTTP get, but you can't use this HTTP post method until the real endpoint is get ready. This is a one kind of problem we have faced this kind of issue. So somehow you need to do that. So how you do that? So this is the reason the Node backend is coming to the picture. So this will help you to resolve that barrier, right? So using this Node Mock Backend, you can post, right? You can create the new records, you can retrieve. It's like a actual server with connected with the DB, but actual DB is not connected. This is what the Node Mock Backend, right? Let me show you that. This is so you can see here. You can clone this from my GitHub repository. Here I will put a link in this description, and you can clone it and just start using. First use npm install, and you can run this using npm run start, right? And here I'll explain this. This is a Node Mock Backend API development for the project. Basically, yes, API is the one we mostly working with, right? So let's say for example user, we have a users. User have several user is a different kind of API. So we developing that API to the particular only for the users, right? So yeah. Here you can see what are the things I have used for this, right? So here I'm mentioning the tech stack, Node.js I'm using, and the Express.js is a framework I'm using for this, and following other middlewares like Handlebar, it's a view engine. You can go through. I have put in the link, the referral link here. You can go through it and get to know about that. And here I'm using this Express validator, and I'll come back to the come to that topic later. And cause is one of the things, cross origin, and Node.js DB. Yes, correct. For why I'm using Node.js DB is, instead of using the real actual database, I'm using this JSON DB. So basically it's a kind of a file you can create. You can add and delete the objects and everything into the same file. So it's work like a real database, right? But it's not an this is just for a mock development purpose, right? So Bootstrap hope you all know about the Bootstrap. It's just a CSS framework. Yeah, and all the descriptions are given here, how to run this Node Mock Backend. Every details are given here. So after you run that, clone and using this npm install your node package, and after you run that application, this is the screen you will get. Right now I'm using this on 8000 port. You can see here npm run watch. This is, I already have this project, and here you can see your Nodejs backend is up and running. So it's running on port number 8000, right? So here there's four things I have mentioned here, four HTTP methods, or four endpoints, right? So first point is get method. I'm using this HTTP get method. If you use this slash users, so you will receiving this kind of data. So here the mock data I have attached here, right? And if you are using the get and the get user and the user ID, here you can see our ID is there 245, right? So his name is Rahim, his ID is the 245. So if you are passing this with your param to 245, right? So you will get a particular user data, correct? And here you can see this is add new user. If you want to create a new user, you need to use this HTTP post method, and you need to pass this object, like this is the format expecting, right? The backend is expecting, and once you are successfully create that, return response is 200, and this you can see a new user added successfully, right? And here if you want to delete that particular user, right? So whatever the users you are adding, or whatever the users currently available in the node backend or the node json db, if you want to delete that, you can use this delete method. This is HTTP delete method. And if you are what is the thing you need to use is this is users, the particular controller, and delete by user is route, right? And the user ID, you need to pass this user ID, and it will get removed, right? So this is how the node backend is developed. Let me go through this code first of all, and here you can see, let me close quickly this one. Yeah, this is what my source file look like, and you can see here follow this MVC architecture pattern. So I hope you all know about this MVC architecture pattern. If not, it's just a model view control, right? So here you can see our package.json file is there. Here is a place where all the script is defined. So you can do npm run start. If you do that, the port running is 3000. And if you use this watch method, npm run watch, if you use npm run watch, then what happen is here I'm setting the port is 8000 and node mon server.js. So server.js is getting pointed here. So here is a place our server is up and running. So here you can see I'm using this HTTP method, and the port and the app I'm taking from this app. The main everything's main codes are defined in this app.js. Basically all the middlewares, everything's are there in this app.js. So I'm taking this port and app from the app.js. So basically it's just splitted here. And here you can see I'm creating HTTP server with the app, and the server I'm listening, and the port number I'm defined here. So right now server is running on the port number. So this is a thing you are seeing here. Server is running on port number 8000. So this is coming from this server JS. Okay, so now let's go to this app.js now. So app.js is a place where I'm all the middlewares, everything's are defined here. So before coming to here, you can see the package JSON. Here the dependency object, what are the dependencies, or what are the package I'm using for this project, everything's defined here. So you can see here Bootstrap 5.2.0 is using here cause, right? Cross-origin request meeting, and Express is a framework. Express validator is validating stuff. and HB is the handlebars view engine. Nodejs DB is the document database. We keep those in local. So these are the libraries we are using for this Node Mock Backend. And let's go back to the app.js. So here everything I am just importing the stuff, and user route. So user route is, I come back to later that one. So here you can see Express app is there, and port I'm using this one. So process.nv is port. If you are setting a different port, you can that is getting from here. If not, specify any ports, it will be getting from this 3000. It automatically by default 3000 port. And yeah, so this is just Express JSON. I mentioned here Express JSON middleware. But what is this doing is checking whether it's JSON. It will convert it to string into the JSON object. That is what this guy is doing. app.use.express JSON. So here just mention this view engine HBS, right? So this and the other one is this one, the Bootstrap. So in this Bootstrap, I'm just using these the path where my static things are coming from. So those are things mentioned here. So static also here. The public is the one I'm using. So public, you can see my DB images, those informations, those assets and data is coming from this public. So I mentioned here this public is my static path, right? So first of all, after first load, right? So once you run the server and use this link, here's the place, the slash means the root one. You can see the status. I'm passing a status as 200 and render welcome. So welcome is the page where I'm defining in the view folder, and the data I'm just passing. If you know about this data passing to the HTML, you can use this data and port number. So in HBS a little bit weird here, and let me show you how I render this port number here, data.port number. So whatever the things I'm passing here, it will be taking to this view, right? So this is the view you are seeing here, that is coming from this main root, right? So again, here I'm using a different one. So I'm using this route because you can see each and every things. If it is a root, that is showing a different one. So this API developed based on the users, right? So this is just a very simple example I'm taking here. So you can use here if you want to develop a different route for this or different API for this. What you need to do is you can use app.use and you can define whatever you want here, and here you need to specify this user the particular route. Let's say for example, if you want this let's say food, right? So if it should be pointing to food routes. So likewise you can specify whatever you want. This is just one example given. So based on this, using this reference, you can develop more, right? And here this is just a module export, exporting the stuff, the port and the app. Then only you can take it from import from here, and this put it to this server.js, right? So okay, now user use this slash users, right? It's pointing to user route. So user route is already import here. You can see here it's on routes user route. So let's go to there and routes folder, and you can see user routers router.js. Here you can see the express I have import here, and the you can see the express validator. Okay, let's talk about this express validator. Express validator is basically kind of middleware, one kind of middleware. What we can do is we can validate the params value, whatever the values coming or whatever the values the users are passing from the client side. We can check whether the name having this particular length, or whether whether that phone number is correct. Those things we can validate here. So that's the reason we are using this express validator, and this is just a controller. So here you can see the control. I already told you I have followed MVC architecture pattern. right? So the control is the place where all the things are defined. So user, this is just a router, so I'm taking this control as here, right? And I'm taking this express router here. This is particular only specific to a user route. So whatever the users things are there, we are keeping, we are writing the code here. So we developing the endpoint particular for the particular user. Okay, so here you can see all the users. I just added a command also. This is very easy for you to get it and know about the things. So here you can see users.get, right? If the user is if user is typed like a user, and if it is a root, get all users. So this one, where it pointing to is, this one is pointing to controller. So let me open this controller now, right? So here you can see get all users. So I am already import those things to from this controller. These are the functions that are coming, right? Get all user is there, and user control, if you go there and here, so this is our user control. This is a async function. We are just taking all the details from the where user model, right? So user model here, the controller here, the controller is pointing this user model as the model. So this user model coming from the models, you can see here this model, and this model having the model having these things. So model having this get all users, right? So here is the place, the model is the place where our all the database related stuff we are defining, right? So whatever the what you can say, whatever the data you want to store, or you are interact with the databases, everything's are writing in this model, right? So that is the beauty of this model view control, right? So this is a JSON DB, right? So these are just configuration stuff. It's coming from the public, right? So that is stored in a public, and DB a folder, and the Node Mock Backend. You can see here now. Let me show you that it's on public. DB is a directory, and the Node Mock JSON Node Mock DB is our JSON file. So this is our object, or this is our database. Everything's defining here. So whatever the things you are creating, posting or deleting, this will be getting overwrite again and again, right? And yeah, let's go back to this route. So in this route is pointing to controller. Controller is the place where our all the informations, whatever the things we are taking, get you all uses from it. Pointing to basically the model, and getting all the informations. If that have a length, we are just updating a status as a 200. And JSON, we are basically passing a JSON, so that's the reason we are using this JSON and pass this particular object, whatever the things coming from this model. So this is all about this controllers functions. So you can see get all user is there, get user by ID, add new user, right? And the add new user is there, delete user, everything's are defined here, right? So this is how it is. So this is a good example, can show you this express validator, and here you can see if user are going to create a new user, right? So what's happening is if that endpoint is get used, and this the body, they are passing this particular names and all, right? Payload body request payload. In the payload, they are passing name, username, email, phone, website, company name, and company location. So here I'm for a simple purpose, I just use to check whether this length have minimum 1, right? So if doesn't have the value, it will throw in the error, right? So this is a reason I'm using this express validator. So this is very simple express validator, and the same I'm passing this add new users. So add new users is coming from the controller. You can go to this controller and you can see add new users, right? So here just checking the validation result. So validation result is the one come to function. It's going to here, and it's coming from the express validator, right? So here you can see it's coming from the validation result. So right, so here you are passing whatever the things here. So I'm just passing the request, and if it is error is empty, then what I'm doing is rest status. If it is 400, if not anything is going wrong here, 400, and just pass these particular errors. So this is what I'm doing here, right? So after that, if the user is successful, what we are doing is we are passing this 201 is the record is get created, and the same return the JSON as the new user added successfully. So this is what basically I'm doing here. And yes, and you maybe sometime you have a question, so let me show you this add new user. So this is how we are adding this. This is a model you can see. So this is how we are passing the data and storing in our Node Mock DB JSON. So here random IDs get generated, user slash is the array we are pushing to, and these are the details we are pushing. So here db dot push the path, or we can say this is our place where the location where we need to push these changes or push these new records that we mentioned here. The rest of the things are just a object, just an object but for a specific user, right? So this is how it's look like at the moment. You can see several data is there, and let me show you this in our Postmon. So Postmon is the Postmon is the tool we always using for this endpoint checking. So here you can see if you are using this HTTP local host 8000 users, and if you send it, this is the response you are getting from, right? So these are already tested. So let's say for example here I want to take the user call 997, right? So this IE, so I'm taking particular user by ID 997. If I send it, you can see the Smith William is the one who have this ID, so it will showing to us. And if you want to create a new user, you can use this one, and body there's no authorization, so header set it here. Header is just an application user, and the body you can pass these objects. These are name, username, email, phone, website, company name, and company location, right? So now if you want to delete a particular user, let's say for example I want to delete this Smith William 997. I'm using this delete. You can see these are the delete method. You can here also you can see get post and the delete. So basically delete is the function, delete is the HTTP method we are using for this, and I'm passing this William Smith ID. If I send it, you can see Smith William user delete successfully. And now if I retrieve this data, you can see here Smith is not available here. Okay, the real question is now, so how I link this to client-side frameworks or client-side, right? So in this video, I'm going to show you that as well. Okay, for this demo purpose, I'm using Angular. So I hope you're aware about this Angular. Angular is just a framework, right? Like it's developed by Google, and it's a single page web application, right? So you can use this endpoint for any frameworks. That is doesn't matter. This is just an endpoint you can use anywhere, right? And yeah, let me run this one, and it's already running in my computer. It's running on 4200 port number, and this is what my local host 4200 looks like. 400 to 100 4200 port. So here we have this we need to take this get all user data, and you can we have ability to add new user through our client side as well, right? So if I inspect this one, right, so let me keep this in a side, and if I click this one, get all user data, so this data is not coming, right? So let me show you first of all this if you're not aware about this Angular, I will show you this structure of this source. So app is the place where the main data root is, right? So here I have created two file, the one file. So this is a one service. So this service is the place where you can take all the data. Like if you want to take these particular all the data, you can use this one. If you want to take a particular user's data, you can use this one, and if you want to add new user data, you can use this one and delete a user. So this is basically the service. So here is the place where we all are handling our HTTP method request or endpoint details, because these are attracting with the server, right? So that's the reason. So Angular is just a different pattern used for this, and Angular is basically MVVM, not MVC, right? Model view model. That is what the design pattern Angular is using, right? So here we have this service, right? So in this service is responsible for taking all the data, or updating a data or deleting a data, right? And here we can see this TS file. So TS file is for this particular component, you can see here. So this is basically rendering from the app component HTML. So it's a main one, right? And this is a TS file, which means control file. HTML is this one, so it's a little bit weird here. Okay, forget about that one. So let's focus only this app component TS and the user service TS, right? And here I'm just using this creating a form, a group here, and here you can see once user load or this app is get component is get load, we taking this all the users from the backend. So for this we have this user service, we just inject it to constructor, and we have this instance available here. We are using this one, and get all users, that is coming from the user TS file, get all user data, right? So this mock URL, we need to define here our server URL, and we need to point it to route call users, right? So if we use that one, so it will return the observable. Here you can see HTTP GET method and API URL we are passing, and it will return the observable, right? And whatever the observable is coming, take it to here and assign it to this all user data. So all user data having that particular data's value, right? Okay, let's now go to this mock server URL. Our server is running on localhost 8000, right? So let me put here HTTP localhost 8000, right? So now let's refresh and see. Let me open this one. So here you can see now the request URL is 200. You can see the status code is 200, but there is one issue here. Let me show you the console, right? So here you can see access to XML HTTP request at localhost 8000/user from origin localhost 4200 has blocked by cause policy. No access control allow origin. Header is present on the request resource. So this is a one kind of problem all users or all the developers facing when they are link that backend to the front end, because the URL is totally different. The client side URL is running on different ports, and the server is running on a different port. So resolving this issue, you need to install this course library, and you need to set the origin for this your client URL, client side running URL. So let's go to our Node backend, and let's go to this app.js. Here you can see course origin. Course is the library we are using, and using this app use this middleware, and here we defining the course, and we are setting this origin. Basically here I just specify the particular client side URL, right? But some of the peoples are using this star asterisk mark. Then if you are using this one, this become a problematic, and this become a vulnerability in your application, because this will giving you whoever using this endpoint, everyone have this access. So this is problem. So anyone can use your link and get the data, informations and all. It's basically bad practice. So that's the reason we can set specific URL for allowing the access. So right now I'm allowing this access to my client side application. It's running on 4200, right? So I'm saving this one. So save, get, apply, right? So now if I here you can see this access course origin error, course origin. If I refresh now, here we go, our data is showing here. Now you cannot see that error, it's gone, the error is gone, the cross origin error is gone. Now you can see here, right? Success origin, these things are going in, right? And the response you can get it from the backend. This is coming from our Node backend. So yeah, how cool it is, yeah. Okay, now let's say I want to add a new user, right? I'm clicking this form. I'm adding John Smith. John Wick is there. I'm adding John Smith. I'm using this username as a smith@gmail.com. I'm not use this. I'm not implement any validations here. Just I did for this showing purpose, the demo. And here it's a website. Let's add .com. Smith organization, right? Company Colombo, Sri Lanka, right? Now if I save this, you can see the record is added, and here you can see this success message. The payload, we are passing all the informations here, and we can get this success message. And the same time you can see John Smith is added here, right? John Smith is added. And if I want to delete this one, so what I'm doing is, first of all, hide this form, and I'm click this delete, and you can see our endpoint delete you by user. We are passing this particular user's ID, and it will get deleted. So John Smith user delete successfully. We are returning that response, and once again we are triggering these users, then the UI is getting updated. So this is the real beauty of this Node backend. So this is just a demo I have showing to you. Anyone can take this from my GitHub repository and go through all the stuff. You can definitely, this will definitely saving you more time, because so normally everyone are facing this kind of issue. So if I want to mock the response and working into a front end, sometimes some of the functionality is not going to work. So this is the only way to resolving that barrier. So that's the reason I have developed. I hope this will helpful to many developers, and I hope I covered everything in this video, and I put my link in this GitHub URL link in description. And if you have any doubts or any suggestions, please don't hesitate to put it on the comment section. So once I get a chance, I will reply back to your comments. And one more request, guys, if you are not yet subscribed my channel, so go below and hit the thumbs up button and click a subscribe button, and the same the right side you can see the notification button also. And don't forget to click that subscribe and the notification button. So if you do only, you will get a notification once I upload a new video. Okay guys, then I will catch you on new video.